Okay, good evening, everyone. It is Friday the 13th. Instead of a Tuesday this time, we're doing this live stream drawing on a Friday because my newest book, The Kirklyn Horror, has arrived. Well, it's officially published as of today. And good evening. Yeah, I'm over here. And Cyrilla's already up. Yeah, I wanted to start on a picture of the whatchamacallit of the book, of course, but let me just switch over here for a second. Yeah, so good evening. I have yes, a large Jack Skellington statue in the background. It's getting to the Halloween season, and of course I've got my hi Sarah, my 8-bit Jason t-shirt on since it's Friday the 13th. This one was drawn by my friend Ryan Gary Brown. So I don't know if they're still available, but I did get one when he put it out a long time ago. Anyway, yeah, so happy Friday the 13th. I actually was just sketching some ideas before, because at this point I'm just finishing up the finishing touches on the 2 witches, and then I have 2 other pieces unrelated to Halloween that I want to finish to then put in my last order for new prints, and then we're getting on to Salem soon. So yeah, anyway, let's switch the camera back over, right? And I have a little bit of a different setup again, of course. I keep switching my setup. Nope. Oh, it won't let me undo it. Okay, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, there's the Kirklyn Horror. Yeah, that's Cyrilla. Hi, Sarah. How you doing? Yeah, she's moving this around a lot. So anyway, yeah. If you haven't already, yes, you can pick up the Kirklyn Horror. It is on, well, she's just covering this whole thing, right? Actually, I can edit that now because it is now available. Now available on... let me just reach up here. I'm sorry. I have this all in a different spot. On Amazon, Barnes, and Noble. Yes. Yeah, I can put that up. Okay, so yeah, here we go. Let me get over to comments. Yes, hello, Sarah. Yes, this is Cyrilla. She is my very nice cat who is, oh my God, yeah, she's really, she took out the camera. Hey, Real. Gonna let me do my show? Yeah, okay. Oh, we didn't lose it completely now. That's good. Okay. All right. Okay, so yeah, at this point, yeah, my 2 paintings are done. Let's get over to those real quick. Where's my book? Highlighting. All right. I've got my spawn is finished, right? Let's zoom out a little bit. That's highlighting. I don't think she likes Jack. I put him up today and she was running from him. Okay, so yeah. There's the medieval spawn painting finished. There is the Gwendolyn and Guinevere painting finished. All right, those I did during the week here, and I was waiting on finishing the witches, partly for this live stream and also partly because I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to add anything to them. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I'm gonna have these 2 as well. These are the ones that I'm finishing. Yeah, she's really all over me tonight, right, lady? Yes. Okay. How are you? Yeah. So I'm gonna be finishing these 2 up. Part of the reason is I just feel like they need a little bit more blue in them. So I would like to give them a little bit more treatment with some color. I just feel like they're a little dull. Maybe other people don't feel that way, but I certainly do. Anyway, and then, yeah, I've got some sketching and other things to do over here. I am going to leave the Kirklyn Horror out throughout the show, though, tonight. All right, so I'm going to go over to this witch because actually the background needs a little bit more in it. All right, here we are. Well, we could keep, let's not keep her in the back. Hi, Cirilla. Yeah, you really want attention right now, don't you? I think it's all about you. I think this is the most you've moved the camera, too, in the middle of a live stream. All right. Can we get started? You're not going to like it, though, if I use the spray bottle, but, well, not on her, but I use it to get my watercolor tray wet. Excuse me, lady. You don't want that, do you? See? You're already getting a little nervous. Actually, she's a cat that is just, hi, Nancy. Yeah. How you doing? Yeah, Cirilla's up and ready for it, as usual. Yeah, let's switch this a little bit. Brill, don't lick the paint over there. She has a habit of doing that sometimes. Hey. It's not good for you. Okay, so let's, oh my God. Just got in from Delaware. What were you doing out there? And I assume you mean, Sarah, get your copy of the Kirklyn Horror. Yeah, I will have them. I ordered a bunch of copies. I'll have them in Salem. And I will be... oh, my God. Oh, you were a keynote speaker at what? Unless keynote was the name of the event, but hey, lady, what are we doing? Causing a lot of chaos tonight. This is a new brush that I was gifted. And, it appears like, oh my God, she just like knocked that. Yeah, no, well, unless you've been a silent viewer, I know that this is your first time, Sarah. Yeah, she's usually not up here this much, but hey, you know, that's okay. You're getting plenty of Cirilla. She'll eventually, you know, let me get it done or get to work over here. So in Florida, and then a few weeks in Kentucky, huh? Never been to Kentucky. Been to Florida a couple times. But we good? We're gonna stop moving it now, baby? Okay, maybe. Maybe she will. See, I'm excited to try this new brush. I don't mind using bigger brushes like this. I guess you can't really see what I'm doing in that watercolor tray, but yeah. Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I keep getting told by people that I do a lot of detail. I don't know how true that is. I can't tell what's the paintbrush and what's the cat hair right now. Yeah, I just feel like it needs some deeper blue in some of the shadows. So that's all I'm doing at this point on both of the pieces. Just trying to deepen some of that. Detail good. Yeah, I mean, not that I'm trying to put you on the spot or anything. It's not really the thing for Archie, is it? But it's certainly good for the type of work that I do. Archie's got those nice, clean, easy to read characters, which I still feel are really good for comics. Clarity's like a big thing in storytelling. Oh, I didn't know you were in New Hampshire. That's yeah, it was kind of like I have it on my con schedule, but it's not one I usually do. So I don't think people were necessarily looking for me there, but that's cool. I also was away from the table. I had a very good show, but there were a couple times where, yeah, I stepped away from the table because I was in the main room, but most of the other artists, not all of them, because my neighbor was an artist, but most of the other artists were in the armory and like across the hotel, and that's where all my friends were. So I also really wanted to meet Freddie Williams, which I spoke about once or twice on this, which was a very nice thing because although I've grown to get familiar with his work as an artist because I'm a big Red Letter Media fan. I know him more from his appearances on that, so I was looking to meet him. Oh my god, this paintbrush is awesome. And now I forgot what type of hairs the artist said it was. It was like, it wasn't squirrel hair. But, man, like, just look at how good that point is. And this is like a 12 round, which is not, it's not like a little brush, but I used to like more precise brushes, but I really like big brushes because, man, they can just, you have a lot of versatility. They can go, if you have a good tip, they can go really small. And then you can also get wider strokes with them at the same time. I guess Nancy's gone already. Maybe I did put her on the spot by mentioning the RG thing. Anyway, I hope not. Nancy's good people. So yeah, the only thing that is a little bit, not that I planned it this way. I don't know that I'm going to get a big crowd tonight, even though it's technically the book launch night for the Kirklyn Horror. It's also day 2 of New York Comic Con. It's the night before the big day, which is Saturday. And I would have been, I've put in for it the last few years, but I haven't been there since 2017. And I was not there this year either, so that's, it's all right. I mean, it is what it is. Who I got watching? 1, 2 on Facebook, not on YouTube. Sorry. Checking out my views right now. Anyway, I like knowing where people are watching from. So yeah, I am not at New York Comic Con this year. I haven't been there since 2017, which is disappointing because right now I have so many friends that are over there. I feel like I just wasn't, like I wasn't invited to a party. You know, I feel like I'm missing out right now. Rhode Island Comic Con is usually good. I've done that. How long have I been doing Rhode Island Comic Con? That's where they start getting a little bit blurry, is stuff like Rhode Island. Oh, maybe it's been post-pandemic. I think that I was supposed to go 2018, but 2018 was the year that I decided I was going to pull back on shows and take a year off. So I didn't even apply for New York Comic Con in 2018. And I don't think that's necessarily why I'm not in, but I haven't been able to get in since I took that year off. It's just a odd coincidence. But anyway, yeah. I think I was supposed to be at Rhode Island in 2018, didn't do it, but then I went in 2019. So that would mean this is my 4th year in Rhode Island. Yeah, I enjoy that show. I think Altered Entertainment does a good, puts on a good show, which is why I was excited when they did, when they started doing Contropolis, because they did a New Jersey version, not so far from where I live, because they did it in Secaucus or Secaucus, whichever way you want to pronounce it. And yeah, they were, I was ecstatic because that's like 20 minutes from where I live, 15, depending on how the traffic's going. So that was like great. The show went okay. I think that Meadowlands Expo Center, there were other shows that would show there, and I think it's hard to get people there for whatever reason, but I hope they're going to continue to do the show, because I will continue to do it and support it, especially because it's just so local. There's no reason for me not to do it. And I would like to be... I started out with travel shows, and I want to be doing more local shows. Not getting rid of my travel shows, but adding more locals onto the annual list. You know, I would love for... no, I'm hitting the wrong spot on the screen. I would love for Salem to become a normal, a typical thing for me, like that to be annual. Because man, there are a few. I don't know that I've ever been this excited to do a show as I am to do Salem. Just because Salem is, well, Halloween's my favorite holiday. I have one day in between it and my birthday, because my birthday is November 2nd. So, being up in Salem for the 28th and the 29th is as close to Halloween as I will likely get. Have I been to Salem before? Yeah, I've been to Salem once, and it was in August. I've never done it in October, but I have been for a very long time aware of what a madhouse it becomes in October. No, because I've met people that have done it. I used to know somebody that I think it was like an annual trip for him and his girlfriend that eventually became his wife. And then yeah, so you know, and so I'm very much looking forward to being there for the season. This is like, so my sister-in-law is like one of those Disney adults. No shade, but I'm just saying she is. And for me, Salem is like my Disney. Doing this like in the middle of October, this is going to be like, I don't care if I'm working that weekend, and I am going up with my family a few days before just to kind of see. Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna love it. Actually, and I'm gonna bring my shirt. I have one shirt I bought in Salem when I was there a long time ago. It was, and I'm glad to see the place is still there. I went to the because of course, since I love Count Orlok so much, I went to the Count Orlok's Nightmare Gallery, and they had a really cool like Ouija board design or spirit board. I don't know, isn't it like copyrighted or whatever? But anyway, yeah. And I have that shirt, so I have to make sure I pack it for the trip because I will definitely wear it. And if I can get a new shirt, that'd be great. Okay. Yeah, I think this blue is going to work a little bit better. It's not necessarily darkening any of these values. It's just adding some color into them. Sometimes I get a little bit worried about using too much color and then I gray things out and then I'm not happy because, it's better when you have some color in your shadows, actually. Yeah. She's just about done anyway. I got to do a little bit with the... Why does that seem so off? Almost like it needs to be going that way. Something's weird. This cat did something to this. Oh, all right. Yeah, because she's bending. That's why she would be flat if it were. Whoops. I'm not looking at what I'm doing. All right. Yeah, I gotta put this in too. Because that's going to go out in a minute if I'm not careful. I just saw my friend Brendan Shaw started a live video too, probably from the convention's hall. I don't know, what time does Comic-Con end tonight? I think 9 o'clock. That might be right. Though I could be, it's Friday, right? Yeah, they could be 9 o'clock for Artist Alley. Although Brendan and Pete, who are Fat Guy Inc., they're on the main show floor. They might be there later. I don't know though. It's been so long. I don't know what their post-COVID hours have been. But yeah. Oh my God. I have so much hair all over me because of the cat. I love Sorella, but she's a PETA sometimes when I'm trying to get work done. She'll do it to me while I'm in the middle of working. How do I put it? Like, just without the live stream going, she'll just decide that it's time to come up and start getting attention, which I don't mind. Sometimes it's a good reminder that I need to take a break. But I would say 7 out of 10 times, she usually comes up the minute I start sitting down. So it's like I get 20 minutes into something. Maybe I'm starting to put color down on an area, or I'm like in the middle of inking, and then she's up here. And man, those are the moments where I have to remember that she's just a cat. I don't get mad at her. Only time I've ever gotten mad at her is when, and I wouldn't say I got like mad at her. I don't yell at her or anything like that. But I did get upset with her once or twice when she caught a bird, because sometimes I'll let her outside, but that cat, I understand it's in her nature, so that's why I don't get like mad at her. But at the same time, I don't want to be picking up dead birds. And thankfully, she only killed one the one time. Every other time, what did I say, twice? No, I think she's actually caught 4. Every other time I've been able to get the bird away from her. But I'm starting to not want to let her out anymore for that reason, because I don't want to keep getting birds out of here. Yeah, I'm just moving that a little bit because, but then it blocks the... Well, I don't know. There's no good way to do it. I can shut off the pop up. There it is. I don't know. Yeah. I hope people really like this book, by the way. Actually, it's a book about a plague, the Kirklyn Horror, but I swear I started writing it before COVID. I think I started developing it in 2018. I think it was late 2018 because I was going to do it as a NaNoWriMo book. And I have yet to finish NaNoWriMo. I don't know why. I can easily write that many words a day. Well, I can write that many words usually 4 or 5 days out of the week, and that's usually what happens. I start strong, and then I start to peter off, and then usually there's things coming up, and I just got so distracted. So I haven't finished it yet. I haven't started a NaNoWriMo challenge in a while, and if you don't know what that is, that's National Novel Writing Month. NaNoWriMo. Re with a W R. All right, so not too much changed. She's pretty much the same, but now I feel that she's done. Probably, maybe, unless I decide that I'm unhappy with her again. All right, our pumpkin witch. My humorous take on some cheesecake, because I just can't do it seriously. And yeah, I don't know. I need something to bring people over to the table. And in today's day and age, both men and women might really like this piece. So I am perfectly fine with whoever finds it humorous and wants to grab a copy. Might make the parents rethink picking up a children's book for me, but I don't know. Hopefully not. Well, I'll keep them on different areas. I'm going to have 2 tables with me in Salem. And actually, my sister-in-law, who I mentioned, the Disney adult, she does crocheted characters that she sells at street fairs and little markets and stuff. She just started the business, so she's been building up. She's doing well with it. I'm going to have her make a couple of things for my table to sell. So there's going to be some of that, you know. I'm also going to have, wait a second. I won't reveal all of them yet. Because, and there's a couple of witch things in here too, but yeah, I'm going to have new stickers as well. I just got these all in. I have 24 different designs. Of course, Orlok's got to be in there. And a baby Cthulhu. Yeah. Stickers will be 3 each, 2 for $5. But yeah, so, and I got some witch stuff, and I got a promotional one that's just my logo on a coffin. I also have another coffin. There's a bunch of different things I'll have with me. A couple of non-horror Halloween ones, like I do have a dumpster fire design that I did. Because, you know, I feel like that's life, one big dumpster fire. But anyway, yeah, I will have a bunch of new items on the table besides the Kirklyn Horror. There's going to be these new prints. There's going to be the stickers, and actually the street fair that I was going to do in my hometown, which got postponed to next weekend. I'll also have that stuff at the street fair, which originally was not going to be available because it just got delivered today. I used a sticky brand. It was a recommendation from Jill Colbert. I don't know. Stephen Colbert messed up that name, and now it's like very hard. Oh, wait, I think she said it is Colbert, though. She doesn't pronounce it Colbert. I think actually she's the one that mentioned it was like. She's an artist based in the Baltimore area. Well, she moved down there. I forgot where her and her wife lived before. Well, she and her wife, not her and her wife. But yeah, they moved down there, and actually we were at a show in Maryland together, but I never got a chance to really. Well, I should have had plenty of opportunity to move around, but we didn't bump into each other there. It wasn't until actually coming full circle, Contropolis in New Jersey, in Secaucus, that she said, "Hey, we were next to each other at a table," and she said we were at a convention together. And then she mentioned it, and I said, "Oh, yeah, that one." And she said, "Yep." And yeah, then we got talking, and she's had a lot of good tips for me. In fact, I was thinking about stickers for a long time, but Jill is the reason that I decided to finally go through with it, because I don't know, she does really well, and she's got awesome artwork. I really enjoy Jill's stuff. I have some. We've done a couple of print trades and stuff, so hopefully she'll like the stickers I did. So she can maybe trade me for those the next time I see her on the road. I don't know. Oh, when am I going to see her? I don't know if I'm going to see her this year. I thought Baltimore Comic Con was the last one. Maybe I will again. I forget. Sometimes it's very hard to keep up with where everyone's going to be next. And some people right now, I'm just rambling on, some people are finishing up their convention circuit. Usually, and it would be the same for me in typical years, that either New York Comic Con this weekend or Rhode Island Comic Con would be the last one. But Rhode Island Comic Con is inching toward the end for me this year, but I still got quite a bit to do after that. I got Monster Mania in Oaks, Pennsylvania. I've got the Vampires of New Jersey convention on November 18th in Newark, New Jersey, at the QXD nightclub, which I've been there before for the Iron Garden, one of the Iron Gardens events, which is a vampire coven. And then I got Punk Rock Fest and Trend in December. And I'm doing also in December, the New Jersey Horror Con and Film Festivals holiday market. They actually have a show next week, but I didn't sign up for it because, I was even thinking about doing Salem next. When I originally applied for Salem, that was one of the dates I applied for, but it's my niece's birthday weekend. So when I got into Salem for the 28th and 29th, I didn't sign up for that one. And they actually reached out to me. Yeah, I am a busy bee. It's good, but it's also a lot of work. I feel like I'm constantly working. I'll admit, today I uploaded some new Halloween designs onto my Redbubble, which I haven't been pushing as much because I've had all this other stuff going on. Yeah, one more thing, right? My Redbubble account, I've been putting new designs up for merch and stuff. And so that people that don't see me at a convention can still get like stickers and things, even designs that I don't take to conventions, just extra stuff that is no longer on the table, or actually some of it, I don't know if anything never has been. Oh yeah, well now, yes. But anyway, I'm really rambling tonight. So yeah, I have been a busy bee. I am gonna take a break after the December 16th one. It's actually my brother's birthday, but I'll be out of there in time that I can get to dinner. But yeah, December 16th is my last one of the year. Unless I'm getting like offered a space, I don't think I'm gonna do any more shows. I tried to get into the Society of Illustrators show, which I was invited to, but I didn't get in, which still confuses me. But anyway, invited but didn't get in. So yeah. Oh God, right. Yeah, so December 16th will be the last one of the year. I already have 12 scheduled for next year. And I plan to add at least 8 to 12 more for sure, like definitive locked in dates. And then, of course, if I get offered spots or something comes up, I can always pick up shows as I go. But there are 12 already scheduled. Sci-Fi Valley Con in June, Winter Garden State Comic Fest Winter Edition in January. Also, whatchamacallit in January, the Wild Con down in Wildwood. February is, I forget what this one is. It's a dark art and oddities festival in Pennsylvania. And then I'm also doing, I think Nerd Fest is in February as well. And then April is Vampires of New Jersey again. Baltimore's already registered for Fan Expo. Boston, Wicked Comic Con. Yeah, and I'm sure there's going to be other ones added in. Rhode Island, I'm sure. Although I've been debating it. I want to keep supporting their shows. Providence is a very expensive city to stay in, though. So I got to figure it out for next year. But I'll probably do it. I mean, it's hard for me to not do a show that I've done so regularly. Usually I don't abandon them. I just kind of like, I'll skip a year or add something new in, but I like Rhode Island. I really do. It's and Providence is a nice city. But, then again, I said it's expensive to stay in, but what city isn't? Because Boston's not cheap. And I love Boston. Boston's my favorite city. And if I didn't live so close to New York, I know that that's not cheap. That's my lovely superintendent. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I don't know why you want your car to sound like it's dying, but I know that's a thing for some people. So who am I to say? It's just not my taste. Anyway. All right. Yeah, he's gone. All right. He'll be back later. At least he's not revving down the street like he does sometimes. Anyway, yeah. I feel like I've been talking for 40 minutes straight. Yeah, pretty much. Okay. You know what, though? I did not grab a seltzer out of the fridge. So I'm going to let her dry for a little bit. Let everybody enjoy her flashing her pumpkins. And I will be back in like seconds because my refrigerator's right there. Like 10 feet. Yeah, probably 10 feet. Right back. In a moment. Come back. All right. Got these major sized seltzers. And I talk this much, of course. Need a little something to wet the palate. I still feel like that orange needs to be a little bit more orange. It's a little washed out on the screen, I feel, but it's still is kind of washed out on the piece too. So I think I'm going to add some to it, but I don't want it to be that dark. So I'm going to add a little bit more yellow. Maybe. Let's test it out. No. You can definitely ask questions. I just, I have diarrhea of the mouth sometimes, and I can just talk too much. Maybe not. Maybe some people find it fascinating. I sometimes just find it obnoxious, but I've got to listen to myself every time I talk, See, I feel like something's not right. All right, maybe that's a better orange. Yeah, that's the one. That's what I want. All right, so let's try to pump up this orange in here. Because if I know somebody, there have been times where the live stream has been like underattended during periods of time, and then I won't talk too much. But I will, if I know people are there, I feel a need to fill the air, so I will continue to talk. So questions are fine because I look on the screen right here, which is at eye level. That's when I'm recording the what do you call it? The desktop, the tabletop from. So I can see questions as they come up and turn them on and off. Sometimes I'll miss one for a minute or two, but I keep my eye on it. So you can ask as many questions as you want, Sarah. It's not a big deal. I will answer them as I can, and hopefully not go off on another 20-minute tangent that you can ask more. Or maybe you'll have it answered in the middle of it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Clifton, sell a ton of books. You like the detail of the inn and the shops in Claude. Oh, Claude. Well, I don't want to give any spoilers because Sarah's here and hasn't picked up the book yet, but Claude is not my favorite. Well, he's not my least favorite character, but I think Claude's kind of a jerk. But I appreciate it. I was afraid that Claude was not going to be a hit, even though it's the first story, just because some of the accents in Hamming are very, and this isn't any spoilers, Sarah, but some of the accents in Hamming are like very thick. And you don't know how much I edited them. And my mother was an editor on the book. And, she doesn't do fiction, but she writes well, and she has edited things before, just not books. Her advice was to tone down the accent a little bit. So I did listen to her on that because I was like, it probably is really hard. But I'm glad you... did I sell a ton of books in Clifton? No. So Clifton was not a very big show. And my friend Mike Gracia, who turned me on to it, had warned me that, it's like a fun hangout. The guy that runs it, JP, is very nice. But he said usually it's, usually a kind of a slow, low-key day. It's also on a Sunday. So no, I didn't have it wasn't like a high sales today. But the nice thing is, although he has a very few artist spots at it, if you're an artist, you can be a guest. I not have to pay for the space, so which is remarkably kind of them. I'm always appreciative when somebody is nice like that. So yeah, I enjoyed the show. I'm not saying anything negative about it. I mean, Clifton's another one that's 20 minutes away, not even. I think my GPS was like 18 minutes. But
because I didn't know where in Clifton I was going. I usually only get to Clifton by Route 3, and I'm not typically like in Clifton. But anyway, yeah, it was a really nice show. JP's a cool guy. I would like to keep doing this show. I don't think I'm going to be able to do another one until January, though, just because it seems like they're on the second Sunday of the month. And every second Sunday for the rest of the year, I do have something. That may or may not be a surprise with how robust my schedule is. But anyway, you don't have to worry though, Sarah. We're not spoiling anything anymore with the book. You'll be fine. Actually, we weren't really spoiling anything before either, but you don't have to worry. I mean, I was going through some dislike of the book at some point, which I always do with everything. No matter how good or bad something is, I always go through a period of liking it and then a period of absolutely hating it. But I'm glad I saw the Kirklyn Horror through. I thought it was going to be out years ago. And then I think COVID slowed me down, which, I don't want to keep bringing that up, but it did hit me hard in a lot of ways. I was not able to get on top of all my projects the way I would have liked. All right. I might have to close that window. Well, I don't know if you guys can hear his music going. That's a good question. All right. So this addition of orange has been very subtle. Hopefully it's pumped it up enough that I will feel better about it. I mean, it does look like a fuller orange now. I just feel like, I don't know. Well, part of it is like, it's a white moon. It's not like a yellow moon. So, like, there isn't a lot of warm coloring in this. But I definitely want those pumpkins to stand out. I think they do. Yeah, they look good. All right, hang on. I'm just gonna close that window behind me real quick. All right. Excuse me, Jack. All right. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you think it looks great. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, she will be available as well as a print, 11 by 17 print. This one will be 8.5 by 11. Those two and the Wicked Witch will be available. Actually, the Wicked Witch was available in Clifton, and will be available tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow I'm in Asbury Park, New Jersey, for a one-day show called the Spooky, the Scary Story Book Festival. I was asked to go. Actually, I think my friend Damon Manx passed along my info because he had to drop out of the show. So now I got asked to do it, which was nice. I have to thank Damon for that. I guess it was a nice trade. Facebook works better. Well, but Rob, it's I don't know what works better. I guess if it does, then use Facebook. I don't mind. I'm not really sure. You may have missed it, but am I located in Jersey? Yeah, that's where I am. I'm in northern New Jersey in Bergen County. And yeah, not too far from Clifton, where I was last weekend. Not too far from New York either, I'm just going to be drawn over the top of it that way. Well, maybe I am going to have to zoom out. That's a lot of dead space, though. I don't like that. Yeah, I'm located in New Jersey. In Ridgefield Park, in fact. Still in Ridgefield Park. I want to move out. I've been here too long, but not yet. I'm not prepared to make a move just yet. But it's definitely coming. Will I leave New Jersey? Not that anybody asked. Probably not. Though I would say this, if I were ever to leave New Jersey, that's exactly where I would go. Oh my God, that's funny, Sarah. Well, I wouldn't move directly into Boston because I wouldn't want to live in a city, but I would like to live outside of Boston. Like if that's where I have a friend, Jack Musto, who did the artwork for the second Chadiana. I know, another thing that people have been waiting for, the second Chadiana issue. She has been telling me to move up there, but problem is, like, I have so many roots put down here. You know, my parents are still here, and I have a good relationship with my parents. We're very close. My brother and nieces and my sister-in-law are like half hour, 40 minutes north. It's tough, you know. I'd say my friends are here, but that's not entirely true. I mean, yes, I do have some friends that are very local to me, some in New Jersey, some in New York. But then, yeah, I've got friends all over the place because when you travel for work, you make friends everywhere you go. Well, maybe, unless you're I can't use profane language, but unless you're a jerk, you know, you tend to make friends on the road. And you know what? Even if you are a jerk, you know, water seeks its own level. So I'm sure even those people would make friends on the road too. Understandable. Yeah, but I would say this, Sarah, for sure. If I had my choice and there was like no reason to stay down here, that's exactly where I would go. Like not even like a second thought. No other area of the country, or even East Coast that I would want to be. That is the place. Because as I think I said, Boston is my favorite city. So being outside of it would be just incredible. And you know, have I told this story before on the live stream? I don't know. I had really a friend, Rob, who passed away almost 10 years ago now. It's been a long time. He had a very rare blood disorder, but he used to live in Boston because he went to school there. He was from New Jersey. And by the way, this is Red Queen. I'm just doing a character design. A lot of times when I do a design first, I'll get very sketchy, and I'm not too worried about things like anatomy, structure, and stuff like that. I'm just trying to get design stuff in. And I always sketch in pen, by the way. Artist tip as I get off topic. But yeah, Rob lived in Boston for a long time because he went to school up there, and he kept every year I'd see him around Christmas time. I'd see him around Thanksgiving because our families were very close, and you know, he was almost like a cousin at some point. It was just like, you know, I was always going to see him around the holidays, so I'm like a good cousin that he got along with. It really was like part of the family. Anyway, so Rob lived up in Boston. He would always invite me to go up, and I never went up. never took him up on it. Probably, in those days, my anxiety and depression was a lot more out of control than I was willing to probably admit to myself at the time. But I just I would never take him up on it. I'd always tell him yes, but I would never actually go. And after he passed away, I finally got to Boston. And man, I just fell in love with that city. And it had nothing to do with him. It was only like a little bit afterwards that I thought to myself, and I could have gone up all those times, and I didn't. But yeah, I absolutely loved Boston. And I never grew up being a real, and of course there's more than this in Boston, right? I never grew up being like a avid seafood eater or anything like that. Not that I don't love seafood, but it just wasn't one of my choice things. But man, I still feel like my favorite stuff I've eaten seafood wise has been in Boston. I don't even always get things in New Jersey anymore just because I've become like a Boston seafood snob now, because it's like lobster rolls, right? Perfect example. They're good in New Jersey, but you pay the same amount in Boston and you got so much more meat. It's so much fresher. So I just won't even order them in New Jersey. I don't care if I haven't been to Boston in a long time, as it was in COVID, it's just, I won't even bother. It's just a waste of my money. I'm not going to get a New Jersey lobster roll. I'll wait till I'm up in Boston again. I mean, some people do make the argument that Maryland, because, I do go down to Baltimore, that Maryland also has really good seafood. And I have learned to appreciate it even more nowadays, but I still think my money's on Boston. Of course, I haven't tried seafood in Maine because I've never been to Maine. So I don't know what that'd be like. Well, see, that's a funny thing. I don't do sports either. Funny story about Rob again, though. Because, of course, he grew up here. He was a sports fan, right? I'm not, and just never was. It was never my thing. I've tried a few times just because of certain friend groups I was hanging out with at times. And I was just like, well, maybe I'll just, when in Rome, right? But I just could never get into it. Anyway, right. So Rob, of course, being from down here, he was a Yankees fan. And he would always go to games at Fenway Park in Boston, of course. And he said that he would always go. Even though he was an avid fan, he would never start trouble, but he'd always have arguments and fights with locals from the Boston area, because, of course, they're Red Sox fans, and Yankees are like the mortal enemies of the Red Sox, from what I understand. So even though Rob wasn't causing trouble, he'd always be reacting to things that were happening to him, even though the security guards were aware that they would always pull him to the side and they'd kick him out of the stadium. And he'd say, what the hell? I didn't even start this fight, these other guys did. And he told me, because he said the security guard, the one time said to him was look, we could spend the whole day kicking Red Sox fans out of the stadium, or we could just remove you, and then there's no more problems. Even though we know you didn't start it, it's just easier to get rid of you than have to go through one person after another for the whole day. So, Rob wasn't a hothead, he understood, but he was still a little annoyed about it. It's funny, though. I can never forget that. That was a great story when he told it. Okay, right. So, yeah, so in spoilers, right, I'm doing a couple of Alice pieces. I have some fans and, well, even so, I've been trying to do more Wizard of Oz stuff because I grew up on Wizard of Oz, and I always say this, but people have come to me for Wonderland stuff for a while. A long while. I don't even know why it took off, but it did. I don't remember where it started, but I do have a couple who's fans of mine in Rhode Island. And I still have what I would say is like 2 slots, maybe 3 slots left to do some whatchamacallit, prints for it. And because of that, I'm probably going to end, I don't want to spoil it in case they're ever watching this episode, but there's another reason too, but I figured I was going to do a couple of Alice in Wonderland pieces. I do have more horror pieces and more Halloween pieces I want to do, but it's gotten too much down to the wire at this point that I can't possibly get them all done. So I'm just going to have to cut my losses at this point, especially because I do have to at least get one Alice piece done, Wonderland piece done. So like I'm just going to do the 2. And that'll be all of it. And then that with the Medieval Spawn and the Dark Souls piece, that's it. That's it for the new prints for this year. Which is a little disappointing in the sense that I didn't expect to do this many this year. But when I got into Salem, I knew I had to do some wishes and more horror stuff. But originally, I was planning to get back to Chaliana a lot sooner, and I have so many people waiting for that, and I feel, as I always do with Chaliana, because for years she's wound up on the back burner when, she's supposed to be my main project. I've neglected to keep up with the project as much as I should have. But the Kirklyn Horror is out, and that was an outstanding project. So with that done, I'm hoping that, I can, I'm hoping that I can get back to that. There's some outstanding projects I want to knock off my list. It's just, I felt like I really had to, especially with all the shows I'm doing. I had to do more artwork for prints and stuff. So, Wonderland is a fun world to see in different art forms. Yeah, I actually had worked on a project where that was one of the things that was holding it together. The glue binding it, so to speak, was I had those. That's how it started. Oh my God, it was that project. I don't know that it ever came out. I had worked on a film called Night of the Living Dead Reanimated, and then the guy who organized that decided to do a book called What is the Use of a Book Without Pictures, which is a quote from pretty early on in Alice in Wonderland. And the whole idea was to tell Alice in Wonderland in just images, but he wanted everyone's different interpretations of the books. And I did a straight up interpretation. One of Alice and one of the Mad Hatter. And those prints, especially the Mad Hatter print, of course, and I think this was before the Tim Burton version came out, which I was disappointed in, because I thought Tim Burton could have done a more Tim Burton-y job with it, and I would have liked it better. But anyway, so it was supposed to be like every artist just did, kind of like Night of the Living Dead Reanimated, where every artist like interpreted different scenes from it differently. It was supposed to be all different takes on Alice in Wonderland, and you were supposed to take like a passage, like one or two sentences, and illustrate that. And he was going to compile it all into a book. I don't know that the book ever came out. And actually, speaking of Chadiana, once I had finished those two pieces, as the project moved on, I remember him reaching out to me and saying he would have loved for me to do like a more like South Asian-esque aesthetic as an interpretation for it. Which I totally understand him wanting to do. Because when I worked on, there was another project, I only wrote the script for it. It was Steampunk Originals Volume 1 he put together. That was through not Alterna and not Archaea. It was, I forget. Maybe it was Alterna. Anyway, yeah, I wrote a story which took place in India. Some steampunk is like, a lot of an idealized version of a future British Empire. I did a story in a occupied India. It was a good story. Anyway, yeah, but he had asked for something like that from me because, he was like trying to get me to think, he's like, I'd love to see you do like something based in India that was steampunk. And I was like, oh, what would I do? And I was like, oh, wait a minute, though. The British Raj would still be there if, the Empire stuck around and, the East India Trading Company and all that stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, way off topic. We started with Alice in Wonderland. But yeah, I keep getting asked to do the Alice stuff. And I've slowly figured out my more dark interpretation of it. Some of that pulling from what I felt Tim Burton would have done, since I am a big Tim Burton fan, if he had done it more in his style. And yeah, I really wanted to, but the thing is, I didn't grow up on Alice in Wonderland. I think like I saw like one or two of the films, but I was much more of a Wizard of Oz person as a kid. So I've been trying to push to do more Oz stuff. Nothing against Alice in Wonderland. I mean, I love drawing it. I just feel like there's more of a hang on. I almost want to laugh because you asked that question, and I'll tell you why in a second. And it's not a bad thing at all. I just feel like there's more of a personal connection to Oz for me. So to some degree, I feel like I'm faking it as a Wonderland person, but drawing Oz, I feel like is more like, oh yeah, this is like my childhood. Not that that's really the case, because, but it just kind of feels that way. I feel like a poser with Alice in Wonderland. Am I a Tolkien fan? Well, here's the thing, Sarah. We could go on about this the whole night. I could do a whole podcast on Tolkien because I am a huge Tolkien fan. I would say, Tolkien would be like number one on my list of writers and creators. For sure. Like, nobody's in the running up there. But I love it. So I am so much of a Tolkien fan. I've read all of the books, all 5 of them, including the Silmarillion, a number of times. And actually, my Tadiana series, it's how I got into creating languages, because my Tadiana series, my comic series, the South Asian one, I have and am working on actually, that's what's holding up issue 3 too. Oh my God, it's been embarrassing. But it's I'm a huge Tolkien fan. In fact, I have stopped myself some years, because when I heard that Christopher Lee would read the books every year, I decided that I was going to do that too. And I didn't. I think I've only read them 6 times. And the only reason I didn't do it is because I don't tend to read very fast. And I felt that I was hindering myself from reading other books because I was reading Lord of the Rings every year. So, I'm a big Tolkien fan. You're making me want to read more of his stuff right now, because there are a couple of books that I have on the, it was more like the history and the Earth stuff that I haven't read all of, and I've kind of been saving it just for a time where I feel like I don't have as many books to read, which is never the case. But now you're making me want to go grab them off the shelf and start reading them. Yeah, I've been inconsistent with reading. Like, some years I'm getting through a lot, some years I'm getting through a little. Right now, and this is because Rob was on here talking about it a while ago, I've been reading Stephen King, Carrie, Salem's Lot, and The Shining. I'm in the middle of Carrie right now. I didn't get a chance to read the last couple of days. Yeah, I do. You're saying do it. Do it. Yeah, I really. Reading from a big Stephen King book. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Rob. I haven't read any of them before. I've seen The Shining, and I actually have never seen Salem's Lot, even though I'm a big vampire fan, because I wanted to read the book. And you have the problem too, although you read faster than me. I can't get through books fast enough. I buy them so much quicker. This was actually a gift. My sister-in-law's uncle was getting rid of books, and he had this nice, hardcover. I already had Salem's Lot in paperback, but then I got this from him, and that was years ago. That's how long that's been sitting there. But when you were mentioning Stephen King last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, that's when I decided I was going to pick that up. Anyway, yeah, Sarah, maybe I will. Maybe after I finish this Stephen King book. I don't know. I've been thinking about reading Cormac McCarthy. I still want to read the Oz books because I only saw the films, but I used to obsessively watch the MGM film as a kid, and Return to Oz too. I don't know, and I still have been wanting to read Dune. Cormac McCarthy, Dune. I want to catch up on The Witcher too, but I keep thinking to myself, what I should do is just read a Tolkien book every other book I read, just to get through the rest of them. Because I have read some of them. I've read The Unfinished Tales, and I've read Letters from Father Christmas. I read Adventures of Tom Bombadil and Other Tales. There's another one. The other one is that I read. I read his book of essays, on monsters, and now I'm forgetting it. But it has his on fairy stories essay in And Leaf by Nigel, I think. Hi, James. I'm not ignoring your comment, Rob. I just want to say hi to James. We were just talking about Tolkien and Conline for a second. I'll get to your question in just a moment, Sarah. I see that one too. The Shining is a very good read. The Stand. I have The Stand. Okay, that's another one. I had a friend. We're not friends anymore. He wanted me to read 3 books. I told him, read The Lord of the Rings, and I will read 3 books of your recommendation. And his books were, what was it, Twilight Eyes by Dean Koontz, The Stand by Stephen King, and Insomnia by Stephen King. And I read Insomnia, which is funny because it's not Stephen King's favorite book, and I don't think it's his best work either, although I think he's a very good writer. You know, I respect the hell out of the man. I read Insomnia, I never got to The Stand, and I never got to Twilight Eyes, the Dean Koontz book. I have been wanting to read The Stand for a while, especially because, and here's another reason why I want to read The Road as well by Cormac McCarthy. I have a post-apocalyptic novel that I've been wanting to finish. I had started it during Hurricane Sandy. You can see how these things go with me. But I was not as proficient with my writing and my planning and everything at the time. So I wasn't doing outlines or anything then, which I do now. I don't know how I wrote the novel I wrote in college without any planning. But anyway, yeah. I really want to read The Stand. I hear it's excellent. But I do have it in paperback, not in hardback. Okay. It sounds like I'm nonstop, though. Lots of things to do and read and paint. Am I good at balancing it all out? No. That's why people are still waiting for me to get 3 more Chadiana issues out and a collection of that, and then more stories besides that. That's why the Kirklyn Horror took 5 years to finish and get out. They have other stuff. That's why, I started a novel during Hurricane Sandy and never got it done. So my mind is constantly moving. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it is just, as I've said to people, it's like scary up there sometimes. So it's hard for me to balance. It's hard for me to focus sometimes, not in the sense that like I can't focus, but then it's like I wasn't going to do any more fan art pieces, right, Sarah? Like that was it. I think I finished up. I was going to finish up the couple of superhero things I did, like Ghost Rider and Spawn I did, and I was going to do that medieval Spawn and that Dark Souls piece, the 2 paintings I showed at the beginning. And that was going to be it. And then I got into Salem, and I was like, well, if I'm going to do Salem, I should have a whole bunch of new horror stuff, and especially get some witches done. And then that turned into doing a whole bunch of that stuff. That's how the stickers came about, too. This one's going to be promotional, right? It's got my symbol on it, my name and website and everything. It's a little coffin, right? That's how I ended up doing a whole bunch of these. It's just, and because it was Halloween themed, I was like, I can't wait to do them. I have to push other projects off and get to this right away. Otherwise, I got to wait a whole year before I can put it out. And that's what happens. I have 2 ink books. Like I have the Wonderland ink book, and I have the first ink book that I did. That was the first year I did Inktober. One's a Lovecraftian ink book, and ink books are sketchbooks that are just all inks. One's Lovecraftian themed. The other one's Monsters and Myths. And now I've got Rob's daughter Lauren asking about me doing cryptids, which I think are a great idea. I just like, it's so hard. And, you know, up until recently, although I still am employed as a teacher. I've taken a leave of absence this year, but up until recently, for 10 years, I've been working a full-time job on the side too, which slows things down. Energy levels just go through peaks and valleys, and you know, your time management. Yeah, so it's just it's rough keeping on top of it all. I wish I could say I was great at balancing it. And then, you know, people will go by my table and they'll see, and some stuff has been filtered off of the table, but it's like I've got, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 comics right now on the table. I have 2 novels now. I have a children's book. I've got a memoir. I've got 2 sketchbooks. Like 53 varieties of prints, and now I'm going to have 24 varieties of stickers. And I have 3 bookmark designs too, which are promotional. People come up to my table and they're like, "Oh my God, like you're so productive." And it's like, well, it looks like it, but I feel like I'm the least productive person because there's so many projects I don't get to. I'm trying, though. I really am. Having all this time at home in the studio, Sarah, I am trying to get better at organizing the time. I just keep telling myself, get through these last designs for Salem, which essentially they're done, right? Like I could send those to the printer and say, forget it with these, but I do have to get one Red Queen done, the Queen of Hearts. I don't know why I keep calling her the Red Queen. Well, she's the Red Queen in Through the Looking Glass, right? She's Queen of Hearts and Alice in Wonderland. Once I get these done, that's it. I don't have to touch any more fan art until next year or whatever. And I don't want to. So then I can get to Chadiana and finish that up. I'm just trying to get there. And then I can, oh, right. So being in the studio all day, you can see my mind works the same way I work through the work that I have to get done. I would like to organize my week so that certain days are used for certain things. So usually my live stream is on Tuesday, right? And that's going to be a longer day because I'll pretty much be in the studio from the minute I wake up in the morning. Well, not from the minute I wake up. I try to read or play a game or do something relaxing in the morning while I have my coffee, right? So anyway, I'm usually up between 6 and 7 o'clock. I try to start work by about 8, 9 o'clock on the late end. But yeah, so let me put it this way. Those are the days where I'd be in the studio from, say, 8 o'clock until 10 o'clock at night. I'm not sure if that would be a good day to work on Chadiana, or that would be, and then do fan art or some other art at the later part of the day when I do the live stream, or if I should just dedicate that whole day to just like non-project work. But it's one of those things like I'm still working out. But essentially, yeah, like, you know, I have started to work out a schedule again. I used to keep a very precise schedule and never stick to it because it would just never work. Because always things would come up and mess up the schedule. But yeah, I'm hoping once I get the Salem stuff done, I can get into a real groove with the schedule, including having days dedicated to, while I'll do some creative stuff, I would like to have a day that's just dedicated to like scanning and prepping stuff for print and, you know, laying out books and stuff like that I got to do. This way, like, projects just keep moving. And I don't have these like slow down times. I mean, the nice thing is, right? Of course, I've got to make money, right? But if I didn't have to do shows and I didn't have to take on any freelance work and I didn't do any commissions or whatever, which I like doing all that stuff. I'm not complaining about it. That's not what this is about. If I wasn't doing any of that stuff, I would still have plenty of work to do, you know, at all times. Which, back in my 20s, when I was trying to be a full-time creator, and I was doing it to a certain level of success, it was harder because I didn't have, even though I was constantly coming up with ideas, I didn't have the follow-through I do now. Follow-through. But, you know, because I don't know that I'm really following through great, but I am getting stuff done just on a weird timeline. But anyway, you know, oh, this must be so entertaining to just listen to me ramble so much. I would, yeah, I didn't have enough to keep me busy at all times. So, nowadays, yeah, I could just never stop. Yeah, you like the rambling. Yeah, it's entertaining, maybe. I don't know. Some people are probably like, F this guy, and they click off. I can't listen to it anymore. I think it was one of those things that is tough. It's good and also difficult when I teach something because I can certainly keep the conversation going if it's something that I'm knowledgeable about or have a lot to say about, but at the same time, you know, it must go on really long. And I try to be conscious of that, especially in a classroom setting. Like, I don't want to be the guy that's just standing up pontificating for long periods of time. The only reason I'm a little bit, I take the chains off a bit when I'm on a live stream is because, like, I'm the only person talking. I'm the only sound that is going on. And I think it was my first live stream. I have a teacher coworker who used to work in radio. And I said it, and he kind of confirmed it's very true. Like, you know, you don't want that dead air time. So I don't like it when a lot, and, you know, there have been quiet live streams, like I said, when people don't show up, but I try to keep the talking going so that people are entertained both visually and audially. Oh, that's not the right word. I can't think of the right word, but there's still some audio entertainment too. Maybe. I don't know if it's entertaining. Well, you like it, but yeah, it's like, Alice is looking a little too old right now. Do I teach online students or just in the classroom? So, and I saw your comment, Rob. I'll get to that in a second. Do I teach online or in a classroom? So in a classroom, but during COVID, I taught one whole year online and another partial year online. And I have to say I was very good at it, or I at least thought I was good at it. I enjoyed it, and my feedback from the students was positive, you know, and that's usually who I go by, you know. But yeah, so that's the reason why I didn't get a lot done during COVID. I'll say this very candidly. The district, as a lot of districts, were trying to force us back into the building, and I know there's still debates over it, and I'm not here to debate it. I'm just saying I got my vaccine, and I wanted my vaccine. And when it was too early and there weren't even vaccines yet, I was not going back into that building. I have both my parents are like kind of at risk, and I wasn't gonna, and they were like pretty much my only social support, that my brother and my sister-in-law, and we were keeping it in a pretty tight group, knit group during that time. I was not going to go back and risk their health, and also have one of my only social interactions be pulled away from me because I was going to work and I couldn't go see them. So I refused to go back, and I fought really hard to stay home. So part of the reason I didn't work too much on my artwork and my writing was, one, I was working very hard on the teaching job, putting a lot of my time into perfecting the online lessons and trying to make them both enjoyable and I can't think of the word right now, but worth it for the kids, so that they were still getting something out of it. But also, not only was I working harder at the teaching job, but because I was fighting to stay home and getting granted that ability, I didn't want to be getting a whole bunch of stuff done and posting work online and all this stuff during that period. So I kind of like temporarily shut down the business during that time, which was, another reason why there wasn't a whole lot coming out for me. Plus, there were other factors too. I mean, comic shops, because they weren't really able to open up, were getting a bit weird. There was some saying that they were going to blacklist creators who were publishing during that time online, because it's like they wouldn't, it was like, well, they didn't want to see people putting their work out when comic shops couldn't open their stores and get their books out. There was a lot of stuff going on. So, I can't say it was all because of the school, but I didn't want to risk the job by posting online all the time while I was fighting to stay home. And then everyone would say, oh, he's only staying home because he wants to do more of his artwork and his writing. Not the case during COVID. But during that time I taught online, to actually answer your question, and I enjoyed it, and my teaching got better because I spent a lot of time fixing up my lessons. Most of the teaching I've done, though, so only like a year and a half out of 10 years was in the classroom, was online. The other 8.5 years was in the classroom. Kirklyn Horror. I should look up the Doomsday Book. I've heard of the Doomsday Book, and I've heard of Connie Williams. Here we go with another strip. Willis. I said Williams. Willis. I have heard of Connie Willis. I will check it out, Rob. I will check it out. Just another book to add to the list of things I gotta get through. Oh, man. So, it was actually for that couple that I was talking about before that I did my first more Tim Burton-esque Alice, where I had her in the black and white stripes, of Beetlejuice and Jack Skellington fame. But they really are like a Tim Burton staple. I'm sure they existed before that. Maybe not in those like stark, sick bands like that, but it was and actually the one woman decided to do that design as a cosplay piece because she cosplays. So yeah, she took that. And that is the type of Alice I'll be doing again. I actually gave her a very dark look. She probably wasn't quite the 9-year-old girl or whatever age she's supposed to be. I probably had her more like a teen, which I know is not book accurate, but it just works a little better. For a slightly more mature Alice, not say mature in the strictest sense, just slightly more mature. You know, she had the whole dress coming down with it too, and dark circles around her eyes, more of like a dark lipstick and everything. It was like goth Alice. Very late blonde hair too. It's been a while since I saw that one, but well, they bought it. They did they commissioned it. I did it for them. They loved it, and they've been fans ever since. Actually, the one guy, the husband, is a backer on my Patreon. Bo, and he asked me to make sure I held a copy of Kirklyn Horror for him, because that's the other thing, right? Like, there's this small part of me, now that I got asked to do a book festival tomorrow. It's a small event, but still. And the street fair got moved to next weekend. And then I got Salem right after it. There's this small part of me that's a little bit worried that I didn't order enough copies of the Kirklyn Horror. I don't want to say how many I ordered, because I don't want it to sound like I have no faith in my novel. I did order a good amount, but I'm wondering, did I order enough? The problem is, the last couple of times I ordered a high number of the book, even when I thought I was going to sell them all because people were interested, I didn't. And then Chadiana, I think when the first new one came out, rekindled, I ordered 500 copies of that one. And then COVID hit, because that was in early 2019. So obviously I didn't go through those copies as fast as I had hoped. So I was a little bit nervous about ordering too many copies of Kirklyn Horror, but yeah, now I'm in a position where it's like, I'm going to be at this show, right after Salem, and it's, Rhode Island, and I'm like, I might have to hold a copy, like just not sell one of my copies just in case, because I'm afraid it'll do. I mean, I guess it's good problems to have. I'm afraid it's going to do well at these next 3 shows, and I don't know how many copies I'll have by the time I get to Rhode Island. And Ingram Sparks' turnaround on printing isn't the fastest unless I want to pay big money for it. So it's like, if I sell out in Salem, I won't have anything for Rhode Island, for sure. But yeah, so I'll have to hold some copies for anybody. Or, maybe I come away from Salem disappointed and I don't sell out. I mean, it could go either way. People have been supportive. I was able to see that I did have some pre-orders on the book. Some people ordered it today, I know this is supposed to be like a celebratory night, but I just figured one more event might pull in a couple more buyers and readers. You never know. I think the link is in the description for this video, actually, as well, which links to Darkfire Press's site, which links to, I think I forgot to update the site, though it doesn't, right now it says pre-order releases on October 13th, I believe. But they still link to where you can order the book. Anyway, I'm rambling again. Yeah, book, lots of people ordering it. Yeah, it's going well so far. I never had a pre-order on anything I've done before, so any amount I got was great. That, you know. Plus my Patreon supporters like Rob here. Oh, you want to get my first book too? Yeah, I'm about to. Oh, this is another thing. So, Robert Phillips, I have a few copies of that left. I really want to order more copies. I probably should do that now, but I was going to update the book. Not any content in the book. Okay, let me just make that clear. I'm not changing anything in the book, but it was my first book. You know, I did have some beta readers. I didn't have a proper editor on it, although everybody was a, you know, a writer and or editor who read it as a beta reader. I just didn't officially have it like edited, and nobody caught any of the mistakes in it. I haven't found a lot, just a couple. Sometimes it's like a punctuation thing. One was a typo that I found myself, and I was just like, I used the wrong spelling on a word. So I want to go back and just kind of clean up a couple of the issues with the grammar and a couple of spelling issues in it. But obviously, because I've been getting the Kirklyn Horror together, I haven't finished up Robert Phillips. And I didn't want to order any new copies until I got that squared away. I will say this, Sarah. I think I have, this is a very low number. I have 24 copies of Robert Phillips left, I believe, 24, 25. That book sells well, but, you know, depending on the event, it doesn't necessarily always sell at every event I go, although it's picked up. I will save you a copy. If I can't get books delivered before I'm in Salem, actually, I probably can't get books delivered before I'm in Salem because I'm going up early so that I can enjoy the place a little bit, and I'm stopping in Cape Cod for a couple of days to see my friends Steph and Carrie Ann. So yeah, I will definitely save you a copy of Robert Phillips. Whether I still have copies or not, I'll make sure you get a copy, and it'll be the original edition because I'm going to have a revised edition coming out. If that doesn't bother you, or if you want to wait for the revised one, that's okay too. You know, I don't mind either way, but I do want to get that. I do want to get it revised before I go to Salem because right now Ingram Spark has a free book update that you can use until October 31st. And it would be very good if I could get it done before October 31st, get it in. I've already started the process. It's not like it's not in progress. No, it won't be any stress. I mean, you know, I never have a problem holding things for somebody if they're definitely going to get it. And, you know, a book is even easier. I'll even hold, like if somebody wants to buy a piece of artwork from me, but they don't have the money, I'll hold it for a while. I mean, a sale is a sale, even if it's coming in the future. And if somebody really likes my work or is interested in it, I don't want to box them out of being able to get something, you know. So yeah, it's not stress at all, you know. It's like I know you'll pick up the copy, so I have no problem holding it. It just means one less person will be able to pick it up in person between now and Salem. If I even go through all those copies, I very well may not. And if I'm out of them, I mean, I'm not being dismissive of it. I know that would be disappointing for the person that maybe was hoping to get it in person, but they can always order it online, and I'm happy to sign it the next time I see them, if that's the case, right? Because there's people in parts of the country I don't even travel to, that's their only way of getting the book, is ordering it. I have to say, great and big shout out to Ingram Spark and their service that allows you to get your books printed and distributed, because without them, I would not be on Barnes & Noble. And, Amazon's easy enough to get through other channels, but having my book on Barnes & Noble sites is just really great. And being available for libraries to get in their system too is just fantastic. Hasn't been a lot of big art pieces done. I've been mostly doing sketching and stuff. She's still a little older than I usually draw, Alice, but that's okay. I have no problem ordering online too, whatever is easier for you. I just figured Sam, so I come and say hi and talk to her as well. Yeah, that's okay. I'll hold it, I definitely will. And then, you don't have to pay shipping on it or whatever. The Kirklyn Horror, I will definitely have copies in Salem. Since I've never been to Salem, I only have rumors of it. I feel like it could be potentially a very insane 2 days. Even though I haven't been there in a number of years, I feel like it could potentially be like New York Comic-Con scene. I've just heard there's so many people, and then there's so many people, but I know that there's so many less vendors compared to what New York Comic-Con is. So it's just they've only got local businesses or the people in the market to buy from. So it's I don't know what to expect. Do I have anyone helping me at the table? Well, since my family's going up for a vacation with me, and we're spending some time there before, and my sister-in-law, like I said, is doing some of those crocheted things for the table. I think it's mostly going to be ghosts to go with my children's book. They will be in and out, and they probably will cover for me a couple of times throughout the 2 days. I asked my sister-in-law if she would actually help me at the table for a little bit. But I also know that they're going to be sightseeing too. They've never been to Salem. So I'll have some. You think that I could be a total left field from that question? Sorry. You think I could be a presenter at Comic-Con? The man who hasn't even finished a full language yet? Well, I hear that. That's the problem with all con minders, but I feel so ill-equipped. That's so kind of you to say, James, and I really feel like maybe that's the kind of thing that would get me to finish my con things, because I always feel so undereducated in the area of linguistics that I feel like I don't even belong in that room. And then there's other times where I can talk about languages and I remember, I'm actually pretty knowledgeable for somebody that's just done it all through books and whatever other ways I could learn. That's kind. I wouldn't say no, but my God, that would be a big step. I'd have to get more of my languages done. That would be a motivating factor, James. because I wouldn't want to show up and be like, yeah, I kind of like started some stuff. And I've been just waffling around a lot because I'm too nervous to finish anything. I appreciate you saying so, though. Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I'm not asking for anything, but that just may be the thing that would get me to finish some stuff, because I'd be like, I can't go to that show without. I wouldn't want to embarrass myself getting up in front of people and talking about something that I felt like I couldn't. I have done panels at New York Comic Con. In fact, I've done panels in Boston. I've done panels at smaller shows. I've done presentations to group events and stuff. Like I've done some of that stuff. That stuff doesn't make me nervous, actually, oddly enough. I get more nervous sometimes teaching to a small group of people than I do talking to a larger audience. And yes, Sarah, again, I will have some help. And I'll probably get to walk around a little bit on Saturday. I don't know if I will on Sunday, because it's 10 to 6 and then I got to get back home. But, Saturday I'm hoping I get a little bit of time just to walk around a bit in Salem and have somebody watch the booth a bit for me. What would be of interest is your desire to incorporate conlanging into your work. A Finnish language is not a prerequisite. I figure that's a typo. Well, yeah, I don't feel like I'm unique that way, though, James, right? But actually, right. Speaking of books, I still got to read yours. That's another one. I've just been I have to read horror books in October. I know that sounds very anal, but I have to. That's the prerequisite for me. It's got to be a horror book for me to read it. But yeah, I got to get to your book too. But yeah, you've incorporated stuff. As I have read it about your friend David Peterson. That's kind of how he started the conline, right? He wrote it into a work for an ex-girlfriend or love of his at one point, and Tolkien did it. The guy that did Tintin, which is one of the ones I always bring up to Hergé or something like that. I don't really know. I didn't really read Tintin. That's more of a British thing, even though he was a Dutch creator. And indirectly, right? Another Peterson thing was Game of Thrones. Even though it's George R.R. Martin's creation, and Star Trek. Same thing. Gene Roddenberry didn't do Klingon. I forgot the guy's name that did, but yeah, I don't think it's unique. But I do know that there's more conlangers out there that don't create a whole world around the languages, right? I think the majority are the ones that don't, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes they'll write some worlds and stuff just to have a framework for the languages to exist in, which is kind of how Tolkien started his thing, right? Oh, here we go, Sarah. See, it always comes back to Tolkien for me. Tolkien started his storytelling kind of as a way of breathing a history into the linguistics, but he also was a fan of myths, so it was like an easy, jumping off point for him to create what he did. But yeah, similar to Tolkien, though even more so, like I really want the languages to exist as a like kind of a living, breathing thing within the world. And even I mean, I haven't covered it yet, but there are a couple of instances where I even sort of want to somewhat accurately portray the nuance of how things don't directly translate from one language to another. Because, like in Chadiana's world, typically the language of Varasi, which is the Indo-European based language that's kind of based off of Sanskrit and Hindi, that one is translated as English. But everything else, you know, I want you to like see the language. The first time I did, God, when I was doing Chadiana in the Company of Shadows, actually the first chapter starts out with a conversation between this leader of the Telefatir, which is the assassin group that Chadiana was trained by, and the tribes leader of what would otherwise be an African tribe. And at the time, the language of Jimbaya Utu was based on, well, it still really is a lot based off of Bantu languages. And there is a whole exchange between him and this chief where there's a translator between them. So the chief's dialogue is in the language of Jimbaya Utu, and then it's translated into, you know, otherwise English, even though it's not English in the book. You know, it's just represented as English, and then back into the language. And you know, that's how the reader is able to understand what's being said, is because the translator that's there you know. And I just think that's a better way to do it, even though not necessarily the most favorably looked at director these days. I think one of the coolest representations of translation, of course, it wasn't conlang, but it was a real life language, right? When Bryan Singer did Valkyrie, that was Bryan Singer, right? Yeah. The beginning of the movie starts out in German. You know, and Tom Cruise isn't necessarily my favorite actor either, but Tom Cruise is sitting there. I forgot the name of the German general he was playing, writing in his journal, and he's narrating it in German, and slowly it fades into English. And I just thought that was like such a great representation. But yeah, I want the languages incorporated in. I want them to feel like real languages, you know. And I want them to feel familiar enough to people who speak the languages that they're equivalents of, you know. But of course, that's a tall order to do the whole scope, because basically every language tree is, well, almost every language tree. I kind of cut out a few. Because, you know, I don't go by the theory of I forgot the name of it, but like just a language that's, I forgot the term, but like a common language to all languages, right? I just go by the language tree. So, you know, there's the Indo-European, Dravidian, so I'm doing Indo-European, Dravidian, what is it? Semitic, which is part of the Afroasiatic branch. I'm doing the Uralic branch and Sino-Tibetan. which is the real tall water, because I feel like I'm way out of my league with that. Anyway, yeah. This is the Tolkien influence, Sarah, in case you're wondering. This is just like, I somehow got extremely interested in language because of Tolkien, and I really enjoy them, especially, and not because of him. He really was into etymology, which is the history of words. I wasn't really sure that would be my favorite area. Oh my God. I really do love etymology a lot. No, it's okay. How long do I normally stream for? I usually go until 10. Usually this is when I wrap it up. Sometimes I've gone a little over, but no problem if you need to go to bed or whatever. I don't ever expect or require or ask anybody to stay the whole time or come in every week. I'm not sure what you're sorry for, but it's okay. Oh, maybe because, this is the Tolkien element. But I was already kind of honored anyway. Anyway, yeah, I got to figure out what that image is going to look like. Yeah, so... So yeah, James, I would love to, I want to see more of it, and I understand that sometimes for the reader, it's not necessarily like, oh, I need this, but I feel like every culture has 3 or 4 elements that are very important: language, art, food, and belief system. And by art, of course, I'm including like fashion and like architecture, all that stuff. I believe those are like the foundations of a culture. So it's like imperative for me to make sure I nail down the languages too, for them to have a real, for them to feel real. I mean, yeah, I could have just said, okay, well, I'm just going to just do it all in real world languages, but if they're not real world cultures, if they're equivalents of them, I want to do it as I want to create something for it. And it became an obsession for me after reading Lord of the Rings too. Okay, so yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't mind if you go. I'm gonna spell it out for you. Her name is Cirilla. I gotta reach over here because I got my laptop further away than I used to. This is how it's spelled, though. Did she go to bed? Probably not. Cirilla. Actually, there is, although I didn't name her after this character, there is a Princess Cirilla in the Witcher series. Sorry, I was reading James's comment at the same time. I appreciate that it was fun to watch. Usually I'm working completely on like pieces like this the whole time. I'm not usually working on my sketchbook, but this was a little different today. Not much of a book launch celebration, but I did move the live stream to today again, just in hopes. Usually it's on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. The only other time I'm moving it is I'm not going to live stream on Halloween. I want to enjoy it, watch horror movies and stuff. So I'm going to do it on Monday the 30th. You're off to Made Fly by CJ Lead and Joyce Allen. Well, Rob, if you're going to come to the street fair, that's next weekend now. It's on the 21st. So hopefully maybe I'll see you there, but maybe you and Lauren can't make it. That's okay. Priscilla Matuda doesn't have to be exact in fiction, approximate, or suggestive is enough. Yeah. That is true, but like I go through these back and forths, James. Like on one hand, I want it to be extremely accurate, and on the other hand, I want it to be inventive. And I don't want to recreate something that exists, but I don't want it to go so far off that people are just like, what the hell did he do? Maybe nobody's going to be looking at it that closely. I just get really neurotic about this stuff. All right, Rob, I'll see you later. I'm probably going to end the broadcast. Broadcast like it's like I'm on a local, like I'm on PBS or something like that. Absolutely soak up the Halloween stuff. Thank you, Sarah. I hope you're able to tune in whenever you can. Yeah, I'll be back on Tuesday, which is the 17th, day after my mom's birthday. I'll be here 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right? And for anybody that is watching this in the replay, don't forget to pick up the Kirklyn Horror, Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It's available now. Today was the release day. I hope you are able to pick it up. I'm very proud of the book. Covers a lot of themes and types of things I like to write, and it's perfect for the Halloween season. And hopefully I will see people this month either in Asbury Park this weekend, Richfield Park next weekend, or Salem at the end of the weekend, at the end of the month. And then more shows. Yeah, thank you, James. I appreciate the kind words tonight about the Comic-Con. I want to try to make it down next year. I got to look up the dates so that I can put it in my calendar and I don't book anything that same weekend. But yeah, everyone have a great night. And I will see you on Tuesday, hopefully, maybe. It's not too many days off, but everybody will be done with New York Comic Con and everything. So, yeah, enjoy your weekend, everyone. And, I'll see you on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the same spot. All right. Have a great night, everyone.